I'm the course tutor for the Introduction to Build a House scheme, which we've got running, which gives learners an opportunity to try a taster really on 4 of the trades. So looking at brickwork, carpentry, electrical and plumbing. The guys are working together, so we're looking at a little bit of teamwork. They've actually done some walling just to put the stones together to actually work out the principles of how the walls work. And then we've gone on to actually using mortar, mixing lime mortar, so they've had to go through the health and safety side of things with that as well. And then the stage we're at the moment is having 2 walls together which are complete, and we're actually building an arch over the top. So that will be the sort of culmination of the training with a view to putting those skills into practice in the project next week.
I run a company called Co-Stone. We do sort of historic buildings work and conservation work too. And I'm here to really give the learners a sort of crash course in stonemasonry and walling, which is preparing them for a week on site on a project on the Pembrokeshire town walls next week. So, you know, we're trying to get them up to speed.
I got an email off my tutor James saying that we have an opportunity to do this, and I thought it'd be a great experience on top of the brickwork and all the plumbing and all that.
My teacher got a phone call and he showed us about the stonemasonry course, and I thought it would look on the CV and just be good experience and all that.
I first heard it in college whilst I'm doing theory of bricklaying, and I got really intrigued of learning something different. So I signed myself up.
Our tutor Pete came into our course and was basically tried to explain what was going on and then offered us the opportunity to do it, and I was like, yes please.
I mean, we started the week really with looking at types of stone and familiarising the students with the stone that we've got available, which is a mixture of stone on site, and I brought in some fairly awkward shaped stone that will reflect what we'll have to deal with on site next week.
This week I've learned how to dry bond, which I didn't know was a thing before. It's nice to know how to build a wall without the mortar so that you get a feel for it. And then I learned how to point a stone wall, which is different than pointing a brick wall. This afternoon we're building up 2 different walls, stone walls, and then we're going to try it and build the start of an arch across, and hopefully it stays up and it won't fall.
We're learning what type of mortar to use, how to lay a stone and how to make a coin out of them, and different types of bonds of it.
We've just been looking at how to stack the stones properly. We need some with good faces and we have to try to stack them right. It's actually quite difficult. It looks easy when you get shown it. When you're doing it yourself, you have to choose the right stones to go on top of each other, and you have to hold it strong. We're building an arch, so again, we have to find the same rocks, and we're using mortar and lime and sand, and doing the mortar with all these different stones, and it's hard because you have to hold them there and make sure they don't fall with all the mortar going with it. So it's really hard.
I really enjoy it. I like building and I like practical work. It's just a win-win, I guess.
I've learned quite a lot of new skills. I mean, I didn't know how to do the drywalling. Now I do. It's actually really fascinating. I'm absolutely loving it. It's so much fun. I suggest that more people do this.
So next week we're actually linking in with the Town Walls Trust. There are walls there, I believe, are in a state of certain disrepair. So we're actually looking to do some repair work. Some of the walls will actually be taken out, looking to reclaim the stones that are actually there. Then for the guys to actually use it as a learning project to be able to sort of rebuild the wall. So hopefully when that bit is done, it will look like it's been naturally there and part of it rather than something new.
I know that we're going to be working on some walls in Pembroke around the castle area. We're going to restore them and fix them as best we can.
putting into practice the skills that they learnt last week in the workshop. So we've actually taken the wall down to levels where it was actually solid, taking all the existing coursings out, cleaning it through, and then relaying the stones back in with the mortar that they've made as we've gone on along the week. So it's been a bit of a jigsaw, because obviously where the stones have come out, they've been piled up, so it's not been a perfect fit with them going back in. So it's been able to build it. But really done a good job of the wall. It's looking really good, and I think exceeded our expectations as far as how much we've done.
This week we've been mostly building up the wall, mixing up the mortars. It's actually the original stones that have fallen off the wall. So what we've done was we've taken off all the loose stones and then we're putting them back with mortar and stuff.
Following on from last week, they've had to do a sort of full day on site. I don't think many of them have actually done a day's work on site before, but that was clearly a challenge. And although the days are the same length as they are at college, they're out in the open. It's a little bit colder on some days. We have had some decent weather, but I think that's been perhaps a little bit harder for them than their normal week at college, certainly. That said, they've done really well with it.
The most challenging thing this week would be carrying sand buckets.
The most challenging thing has been lifting up the stones, I suppose, yeah. Other than that, it's all been really easy.
Probably making the mortar, that was quite challenging. You have to get the right amount of buckets and bring the sand up into the work site here.
The weather, it's been really cold. I don't like the cold. It's very hard to move the bricks and put the mortar in and stuff when you've got hands are cold.
It's been quite long days, it's been quite cold, so there's been a few challenges like that. So it's actually getting out and being able to do something in the real world rather than a workshop situation. And I think they've found that testing at times, but they've managed to keep going through it and work together well to overcome some of the difficulties we have had.
It's more challenging, but it's also more fun, because using bricks is very repetitive, and this isn't. It's enjoyable to do.
It's something different to learn, and I definitely recommend someone else doing it as well.
Very eventful and very helpful. I found it very fun. I'd definitely do it again if I got given the chance.
It's always handy to learn something new, and I can use it when I get older for work experience and stuff. It's really good. It's fun. It's not boring, and it's a good trade to have as well.
It's been a lot of fun learning something new, getting to work on a really old wall, and becoming a part of the history, I suppose, yeah.
And I think they're quite pleased with progress, and as is the architect, Mark Vines, so he was quite impressed with how much has been done. So I think so far we can chalk it up to a successful project.
The next stage would be re-rendering. We would scrape out all the joints and putting in a different type of mortar and re-rendering it up.
We're repointing what we've done, and we are also starting up the next course for people to finish it next week.
We got a new group this week, and we've got 11 guys this week. Didn't be getting on well, and as the last group, I think doing a relatively full day, they find it a little bit tiring, but they're all turning up again the next day, so they must be enjoying it.
I'm a stonemason for Co-Stone, so we're running the training for the students here this week, so we're just teaching them basic skills to do with stonework, how they might be able to use that on site next week down at Pembroke. It's been quite enjoyable to be able to pass your skills on, stuff that I've learned, and to be able to pass that on to future stonemasons has been quite good. Even in the 3 days that we've been here so far, I'm seeing that they're picking up bits that you've been pointing out to them and they're improving, so yeah, it's good.
A lot more goes into stonemasonry. You've got to choose the right kind of stones for where it fits in and stuff. Coming here you learn a lot, especially hands-on stuff, like laying and how to lay a block and all that different stuff. You learn it all here.
Quite a bit I've learned. There's a certain stone for a certain place, and if it doesn't fit, you've got to find another one that fits that spot. I'm loving it, to be honest.
It's been good. I've enjoyed it. It's been quite easy.
I think, yeah, they've done pretty well, to be fair. They're all responding pretty well. They all seem pretty interested in it.
So next week is sort of phase 2, continuation of the works on the Burgage plot wall. As you know, the first group brought the wall back into usable form, if you like, bringing it up to a decent level. We laid several courses and brought that to a conclusion at the end of their week. We're going to be continuing on that, hopefully getting it up to pretty much to height of the two walls either side, so joining those back up or close to. That's the aim. And then with those 2 weeks on site, that would be quite a good amount of progress, I would think.
Basically, they're just following on from the work that the first group had done where they were putting in the lower courses. The work we looked at last week when they were in the workshop, building on that again, so they're actually getting more opportunity to do it with the real wall. We've gone through a bit of the history of the wall with this group as well. These lads are on different courses to the ones that we had during the first couple of weeks. And as a result of that, they're more used to doing bricklaying and block laying, so it's actually looking at mixing in those techniques as well. The way the wall has been laid, there's different angles, so they're used to being quite precise when they're actually working with the bricks and blocks, so it's actually making sure that they put a bit more of the mixture in. They're actually making sure that the wall is pointed in line with what's already there rather than sort of going for a straight line.
We're hoping to link the two section of walls together, so up to the capping. So that's the target we've set them. Whether they get that far, we'll have to wait and see, but yeah, that's the target for them.
Well, at the moment, I've just been helping the boys with putting the stones on and getting them mixed and stuff, and doing mixes.
Well, for this week, we've learned how to mix up different types of mortar and experimented with different stones and rocks, figuring out where they should go. And because we have to have like the flat faces on the outsides and the really crummy ones in the middle just to fill out the gaps.
The boys are doing really well. The amount of work that we managed to turn out yesterday was really considerable, considering it was the first day that they were actually on site. So we're aiming to get up to the level of the existing wall that's there by the end of the week, and I'm sure we'll have no problem doing that. Everything's been pretty good, to be fair. Yeah, I think that they're able to build on what they had, the skills they built last week, and I think they've worked really well as a team, so we haven't really seen many challenges. They've actually been getting stuck in to give the mix a go as well, which is something new for them to do. Probably the main issue I think we've had at this point is actually managing to identify the stones to get the wall up to the next course that we're looking at, because a lot of the stones that we had available were obviously used earlier on in the project. So we've been having to look around, sift more stones out and sort those, and actually the sort of process of a jigsaw, if you like, of fitting the stones in the right place has probably been slightly more challenging for this group than it was the previous one.
But they're getting on really well, and yeah, picking up tips and stuff that you're trying to point out to them, so they're doing really well, to be fair.
It's been really good being outdoors. This project has helped me gain more skills. My favourite part of the course is being somewhere else and being with some of the class that we're not around as much.
So far I'm loving it. Great to be out in this weather and to do the stonework. It's amazing.
Well, I think it's good because it gives learners a chance to go outside and actually get on with the practical instead of being in a classroom all the time.
Well, I'm really proud of them all, and they've all done a great job, but they've worked quite hard. Obviously, it's important to get the younger group, the young people, the younger generation involved in this kind of work, partly to teach them the value of where they live and the structures and the historic buildings around which they live, but also to prepare them for looking after them in the future.
From the college point of view, it's an excellent opportunity to actually get out and do some real work. A lot of the work that our learners will be doing is obviously in college or in the workshops. So it's really important to have organisations like the Town Walls Trust that can offer us opportunities to come out and do something that's real. It's also tying in with the history of the county, especially with the links to Pembroke in Pembrokeshire. It's very important. And I think there is a scope for us to look at future work, again linked with Ollie and the stonemasonry side of things, because I think there's certainly more phases of work that could be done, and from the college point of view I think we'd be looking to link in with our learners and perhaps bring some of the other tutors involved in the brickwork side of things into this as well. So without the trust being as positive and supportive as it is, I don't think we would have had such a good opportunity for our learners to come out in such a lovely day really and enjoy it.
So this project has given me the opportunity to do a bit of teaching work, which I probably wouldn't have got the chance to do otherwise. So it's been really good for me, the garden owners who are having their walls done, and the students as well, who are getting training, which is a bit out of the ordinary to what bricklaying students normally get. So it's benefit for everyone, really.
I think it's great that the Pembroke Town Wall Trust have given us this opportunity to come out and do these walls in the future. I hope there's more opportunity for courses like this.
Obviously, it's been a really valuable experience for me and for all the learners, and thanks to the Pembrokeshire Town Walls Trust for for giving everybody this opportunity, and I think it's been really beneficial, and hopefully we'll get the opportunity to repeat that again, you know, year on year.